Auto giant Stellantis is driving some of its production away from Canada to the U.S.
The tariff and trade war with the U.S. is taking a tough turn for Canada's auto sector.
Stellantis saying it is moving production of its Jeep Compass from Ontario to the United States, and the automaker had previously paused production at that facility in Brampton in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs.
Something weird's going down in North America's auto scene. A move that was supposed to boost America might actually backfire. A few weeks ago, Stellantis, the folks behind Jeep, announced they're shifting Jeep Compass production from Brampton, Ontario to Belvidere, Illinois. They're packing up this Brampton assembly plant and crossing the border to Illinois. And we're not just gonna shrug and say that's fine, because it's not. They made promises to this plant. Stellantis shuttered the Brampton facility in 2023, temporarily laying off 3,000 workers. At first, it seemed like a big win for Washington and a loss for Canada. But dig deeper, and it starts to feel like a tale of overconfidence. The goal was clear: dodge Trump's new 25% import tariffs by building in the U.S. It aligned with a $13 billion four-year plan to ramp up domestic production and add 5,000 jobs. But the markets hit back hard. Stellantis' stock tanked in a single day as analysts warned that high U.S. labor costs, skyrocketing energy prices, and strict Buy American rules would wipe out any savings. In Canada, the response was sharp but calculated. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Ontario Premier Doug Ford didn't lose their cool. CTV News got hold of a letter from Foreign Minister Melanie Joly to Stellantis' president, reminding them of their deal with Canada and Ontario to keep their full Canadian operations, including Brampton, in exchange for major financial support. Anything less would be a breach of contract. We'll hold them accountable, they said. Ottawa quietly started pulling legal levers to make it expensive for Stellantis to bail entirely. So, the big question looms. Did Canada get played, or did Stellantis stumble into its own mess? Before we unpack this, smash that like button if you're hooked. It helps us beat the algorithm. It's tough emotionally. 3,000 workers in Brampton, plus over 1,000 in the supply chain, are facing uncertainty. Stellantis, known for Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Fiat, has already taken a $480 million CAD hit from U.S. tariff policies. But the real trap wasn't in Brampton or Belvidere. It was baked into Washington's trade strategy. When Trump's 25% import tariffs on vehicles and light trucks kicked in on April 3, 2025, they flipped global auto manufacturing on its head. Stellantis' optimized supply chains, European parts, cross-border flows from Mexico and Canada, became pricier, slower, and bogged down by red tape. By Q2's end, the company swallowed $300 million in extra costs, with a first-half net loss of $2.3 billion USD, 2.68 billion CAD. Jefferies analysts warned the EBIT hit could top $7 billion by year-end. Factories in Michigan and Indiana faced temporary shutdowns, and 2 Jeep models from Mexico were halted entirely, leaving 900 U.S. workers in limbo. Trump called it a win for America, but Stellantis' balance sheet screamed otherwise. Protectionism was costing more than it saved. If you're still with us, consider subscribing to stay in the loop. Canada didn't just complain, they moved. While Washington spun the relocation as an America First victory, Ottawa flipped the script. Joly reminded Stellantis of its 2022 EV investment commitments, with penalties for cutting jobs or production. Behind closed doors, officials explored legal options to label the move a contract violation, potentially forcing compensation or redirecting production to Brampton. Doug Ford pushed Ottawa to respond in Trump's language: firm action. And they delivered, activating clauses in the EV deal to keep Stellantis tied to Canadian parts and component production. The company couldn't fully walk away, bound by contracts and Canada's quiet industrial savvy. While Brampton faced uncertainty, Windsor stepped up. To offset lost Jeep production, Stellantis added a third shift at its Windsor plant, boosting capacity and saving hundreds of jobs. Ontario expanded retraining, shifting over 2,000 Brampton workers to the $5 billion CAD NextStar EV battery project with LG Energy Solution. Now operational, NextStar is set to create 2,500 high-quality jobs in Windsor,